Hey all, welcome back to Awful Stories. I'm Michael, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe for daily videos. The first was made in the True Off My Chest subreddit by a user named Crummercia. The post is titled, "I had surgery last year, got sepsis, and was in a coma for 2 weeks in another state. My family didn't come, they didn't tell my friends. I woke up alone. I, mid-40s F, had my gallbladder removed last summer. A week later, I knew something wasn't right. I was feeling the same as I had before the surgery. I went to the hospital and they told me I was experiencing phantom pain. I told them it felt like pressure. A week later, the same thing happened. I went back and was told I was crazy. The third time I went back, a few days later, I told them it felt like my insides were melting, and I fell into a coma in the emergency room while waiting to be seen. I kept telling them in the waiting room that I needed to lie down right then, but they thought I was crazy. I was unconscious for 2 weeks. My liver and kidneys failed and I had pancreatitis. My family was alerted by the person I was staying with. They knew the day it happened because that person took me to the emergency room. My family told no one. No one from my family came to the hospital. My mom claimed that she was afraid of flying and my dad simply didn't come. My brother and sister didn't come either. They even offered to fly my parents out. Money wasn't an issue. No one came after I woke up. I was in the hospital for over 2 months. On top of the sepsis damage and recovery, I had to learn how to use my body again after severe atrophy. I had to accept being on dialysis to jumpstart my kidneys for several months. After I got out of the hospital and returned to the house where I was temporarily staying, one of my best friends from another state came to spend a few days with me and helped immensely. When I was finally done with dialysis and wanted to come home, I had to beg my parents to let me stay with them. I didn't have many other options, especially while trying to recover. They let me stay, and I'm still here because after all that, I blew through my savings. I can't afford to live on my own now. I resent them every day. I don't know what I did to them. I don't understand it. I have awful PTSD from the abandonment and from going through all of it completely alone. No one was there. I think about it every day. I can't get over it, and many days I wish I had just died in that coma. I could go on and on with more details, but this is the heart of it. Sorry for any mistakes, I just had to get it off my chest. This story is heartbreaking and infuriating on so many levels. It's unfathomable how someone could go through such a brutal medical ordeal, being ignored and dismissed by healthcare professionals when you know something is seriously wrong, and then be abandoned by your own family during the darkest, most vulnerable moments of your life. The pain of not only suffering critical health issues, but also facing that isolation and betrayal is beyond words. I can't get over how OP was told she was crazy when she tried to explain her symptoms, only to end up in a coma. That kind of medical neglect adds a layer of trauma that can haunt someone for years. And then there's the family, the people who should have been her rock, who not only didn't come see her, but apparently couldn't even make the effort when travel wasn't a problem. That kind of abandonment breaks trust and rewires your sense of safety with the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. OP's resentment is totally valid. I'd be furious too. It's incomprehensible what could make a family turn their backs like that. And if I were her, I'd be asking the same questions. What did I do to deserve this? But the truth is, sometimes people fail us utterly without cause, and the hardest part is accepting that it's about their limitations, not our worth. I also admire the strength it took for OP to keep fighting, to survive sepsis, pancreatitis, liver and kidney failure, the grueling recovery after muscle atrophy, and months of dialysis, and then to reach out and rely on the few friends who showed up. That's resilience in its rawest form. The fact that she's still grappling with PTSD and feelings of despair is a tragic but honest reflection of what happens when trauma piles on top of trauma. If anything, this story is a call to all of us to never underestimate how devastating loneliness can be during illness and to fiercely protect and support the vulnerable among us. No one should be abandoned like that, and no one should have to wish they died just to escape the pain. The second story for today was also made in the True Off My Chest subreddit by a user named Straight Injury. The post is titled, "I faked being asleep while my girlfriend was on top of me." I don't know what to think about this, honestly. It makes me so confused. It all started when my girlfriend and I came home from work pretty beat up and tired, so we both decided to smoke some weed so we could get some good sleep after dinner. About an hour or two after I fell asleep, I woke up very slowly to my girlfriend being on top of me. It was the first time she had done this, so I just pretended to be asleep because I was afraid to alert her that I was awake. She can get angry when I tell her I don't want to have sex or that I want a break, which is why I faked being asleep. As far as I know, it couldn't have been more than 10 minutes before she was satisfied and went to bed immediately after. I don't understand why she did this. We have a healthy sex life. We do it at least 3 or 4 times a week, if not more. I just keep wondering why she couldn't have woken me up to have sex. I would have been more than happy to do it, obviously. The thing is, I still love her very much, and I don't hate her for doing it. I'm just confused about why she did it that way, but yeah, thank you for reading my rambling. I just needed to get this out of my head since I can't talk to anyone in my real life about it. Johnny Velvet said, "If you've never had an explicit conversation giving permission to touch or initiate sex while you're sleeping, she assaulted you, full stop. Her getting angry when you turn down sex to the point where you feel you can't say no is also coercion and can constitute assault. This is not okay. I'm sorry this happened to you." To this, OP said, "We didn't have any discussion about this. In fact, it's not something I'm into. But being angry at me for turning down sex feels normal to me, since every girlfriend I've had has been like that. It's just become the norm for me, which usually results in me saying yes because I don't want to be hit or have things thrown at me." This third and final story again takes us back into the True Off My Chest subreddit. The post is titled, "My pregnant wife is starving herself and crying every day she's fat. I hate myself because part of me wishes she'd miscarry so she can stop suffering. I'm a 30-year-old man and my wife is 29. She's the love of my life and I adore her more than anything. We've been together since we were 16 and 17. She's now about 5 to 6 months pregnant. She's always had a disordered relationship with food, but it would come and go. We come from a country with mostly East Asians, so being at her current height and weight is basically the same as around 80% of the women here. She's always been 5'2" and 108 pounds ever since we started dating, and when she's at that weight, she's okay. She doesn't obsess about food or her body, but whenever she hits 112 pounds, every single time, she starts controlling her portions, skipping meals on our dates, and ordering 0-calorie drinks. It's like that specific number triggers her. We got pregnant because we wanted to start a family and felt it was the natural next step a few years after getting married. But when she got pregnant, her weight obviously passed 112 pounds, and from there, things spiraled. During the first trimester, she tried to stay under 1,500 calories, and then it turned into eating 1 meal a day. She's gained 20 pounds so far, which is normal for the second trimester, but it's the heaviest she's ever been in her life. And now she started water fasting. I looked it up, it's literally 0 calories for 3 to 7 days. She cries every day, saying she's fat and disgusting, and she's lightheaded and depressed. I genuinely think she's the most beautiful woman in the world. I don't care if she's skinny or if she gains weight or whatever, she is everything to me, but she just can't see it. She works hybrid, 3 days from home, 2 in the office, and she keeps taking on more responsibilities on purpose so she can stay busy and not think about food. She refuses to talk to anyone about this except me and her 2 best friends. She won't tell her obstetrician, she won't tell her parents, they're toxic and not close. And she won't see a therapist because she says it's too embarrassing unless it can be anonymous. So it's basically just me watching this happen. I used to only have 1 work from home day, but I switched to 3 to match hers so I can keep an eye on her because I'm scared she's going to faint or something when I'm not home. And I feel sick even typing this, but it's the truth. Part of me keeps wishing she would miscarry so she'd stop hurting herself like this. I don't want to lose her. I feel so helpless. I honestly don't care if I never have kids. I just want her to be happy and healthy again. She is my #1 priority. I don't even know if termination is an option at this stage, but I'll research it later. I just needed to get this out because I feel like I'm losing my mind watching the person I love destroy herself. I feel like the worst person ever for wishing that my baby would just die. Edit, I just looked into it and where we are, abortion is allowed up to 24 weeks. We are currently at 22 weeks. I'm really overwhelmed by all the comments, but I hear you. I will call her obstetrician and we will go together. I have also suggested abortion to her, and she's not fighting me on it. Honestly, she accepted that she would gain weight during pregnancy, but she just didn't know she would be this affected. Gaining 20 pounds in just over 5 months was not what she expected. Her eating patterns were never extreme in the past. She only reached 112 pounds about once every 1 to 1.5 years, usually followed by just a few days of skipping meals. For the rest of the year, she eats normally 2 to 3 meals a day at maintenance calories. She's always eaten at regular times and in normal amounts. That's why she's never been diagnosed with anything, because most of the time, she isn't restricting or obsessed with her food intake, except for those rare times every 1.5 years.